happening. So you can see that is cooking through the roux. And so if you've used, it's equal parts flour and fat, and if you've used, say, 50 grams of flour and 50 grams of fat, all you have to think about, or remember if you like, is to put a nought on, and then it's 500 of liquid. So 50 grams of this and then 500 of liquid to get it into the next stage, which is bechamel. So you can see that's colouring a bit. Yeah, that's been 4 minutes. So we're going to make a bechamel now. So that's the roux, it's over. So I'm pouring in, and that goes quite lumpy, but never mind, it's all right. So get that in. I do find actually that I just put the first bit in a bit more slowly, and then in goes the milk, the plant milk. Now I've used this. So we've got lumps here, as you can see. Lumps, lumpy porridge kind of look to it, but this is going to thicken up now. Now your classic bechamel is this with, you know, made of cow milk basically, with salt and a bit of nutmeg, which is good. Steady on with your nutmeg because it does add something, but if you add too much of it, it just goes a bit cakey. Freshly grated nutmeg is a bit, I think that would be my preference, but I will demonstrate today with this ground nutmeg. So this now has to come up to the boil. So we just wait. Now can you see, let's just get this out. You can see how this is now a bit lumpy, but not. So we're confident the flour's cooked, but it's still quite lumpy, but don't panic. Now then, you might say to me, which milk is best? Well, oat milk, I find. I prefer the flavour. I generally use soy milk for baking because of the protein aspect of it. I've got good results from soy milk for protein and baking. But for sauces and for custard, I use oat milk. Now, I haven't used this brand before, this Yord. I often use the Oatly, the original Oatly, not the barista one. I think the barista one has just got stuff in it, and so you can see now this is beginning to thicken up. Now a good so you know, use the milk that you're most familiar with. It is about taste at the end of the day, isn't it? So that's good. In terms of the fats, I'd probably use butter. I always do. I think I've used the Flora, but any other of these weird sort of margarines, they're not. I don't think they're very good. I made a crumble with one the other day, and it really actually wasn't very good. Just didn't respond well. So you can see now this is thick. This is really nice. This has been about 4 minutes. So I'm just going to let that. Just don't fiddle, Julia. Right. So we're putting some nutmeg in, and again I'm just putting the tiniest amount that you can get. Onto that spoon. But do put it on. We're going to put in half a teaspoon of salt, and we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of just this lemon juice. This will be from Aldi. Now just the addition of this lemon juice for me just changes the flavour profile enough to basically say it has to be there. A standard vegan bechamel will just be the fat, the flour, the milk, pinch of salt, a bit of nutmeg, but my version also adds the lemon and what I'm going to put in now, which is 2 teaspoons of nooch. this nutritious yeast here. Having never done this before with this camera here, I have really no idea until I've watched this back what this is going to look like. So I'm hoping that this is all right. So that's it. So that bechamel there, now that's really good for lasagna, and it's good as a basis for a cheese sauce. And if I was going to make it more cheesier with more flavour, I put more nooch in there. I put some Dijon mustard in there and onion and garlic powder, but I'm not doing that today because actually I'm going to do a cheesy sauce probably next week, and also use cauliflower puree, because cauliflower puree basically makes an Alfredo sauce, and that is really quite cheesy. I'm going to give you two alternatives. Or I might just do them in a blog. I don't know, I'm still a bit undecided, as you can probably tell. So that's that. Now then, what's going to go wrong with this? What could go wrong is that you take it off the heat now and it goes lumpy. That could go wrong, couldn't it? If it does, it doesn't matter. It's probably slightly easier to pass through a sieve if it's warm. But if it's lumpy, you need to do this more. If push really comes to shove, put it through a sieve. So now, of course, I will demonstrate this. You need to taste it. This here is absolutely lovely. Now, if you put this in lasagna, contrast it with the pasta bolognese sauce I made last week. I mean, look at that. That is lovely. That will be a really lovely, light, different flavour profile than the rich bolognese in a lasagna. So that's what that looks like. It's really lovely. It's really shiny as well, which is what you want. So yeah, one of the dangers here, I guess, is I could overcook this and it could stick, and that would be a way it would get lumpy. So that's nice. You don't want it any thicker than that, I don't think. I've just tasted that and I think that's lovely. It's not cheesy, but it shouldn't really be cheesy. So that's all good. So I'll write that recipe up and put it on my blog, How to Cook Vegan Anything. And then what I'm just going to do is get a Tupperware out. I've just thought of this, and just demonstrate storing this. So if you were storing this, you know, maybe making it in advance. I mean, I won't be using this tonight, so this needs to be done. We push it all into this container like that. Comme ça, I always want to say. So we put it into that container. This is, you know, this is good practice actually for lasagna making, because lasagna, I think, is best done in stages. Make the bechamel, make the meaty sauce, make an extra tomato sauce if you're going that way, and then leave it all, and then the next day assemble and cook. Sometimes I think lasagna, homemade lasagna, can be just too much work for one day. So okay, so that's what we've done. So this here is, I just need to actually demonstrate that properly. Push the air out. So get the surface of the bechamel in contact with the cling film, and then it will not go hard. And then what you'll be able to do tomorrow, whenever you use it, is to pull this off. It pulls, look, it pulls the layer, and then everything underneath it has stayed really smooth. Now that is what you would do for custard as well. So that there is roux made into bechamel.